Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about my unpopular Harry Potter opinions. Now, I have some really unpopular opinions, so feel free to disagree with me and comment down below and I will respond to you. So, my first unpopular Harry Potter opinion is Remus Lupin. Yes, Remus Lupin. I do not blame Remus Lupin for not taking in Harry. He was poor. He had just lost all of his friends and family. He was probably incredibly depressed. And he was a werewolf, so he wasn't safe to have Harry around. It wouldn't have been safe. He didn't have the means to take care of him. And he had no knowledge of the fact that Harry was being abused by the Dursleys. So, it wasn't his fault. My second unpopular opinion with him is I do not blame him for leaving Tonks. I think it was completely justified. He was, of course, terrified. He didn't know how to be loved because he never had been loved. And he was terrified of what he could have produced with the offspring. But even if these factors hadn't been in place, he probably would have still left her. Why? Because what he was doing was actually completely necessary. When he goes to Harry and offers to go with him, he is not going on some quest for adventure. He is offering to give up his life for the greater good. He is willing to leave his wife and child and would be willing to leave them even if he wasn't terrified of what they could become, because he wants to create a better world. Completely justified. He would have been invaluable to them. And yes, they would have had to tell him what they were doing, but it would have been far worth it. I also do not believe that he would have been the amazing teacher everyone said he would have been. Now, I think he would have been a very good teacher. I think he would have helped a lot of students through their problems, but I think that a teacher cannot change a broken system, and Hogwarts sending 11-year-olds into the Forbidden Forest to find the thing that's killing unicorns is about the most broken system that you can get. One teacher could not fix it. They do not care about their student safety. So he couldn't have done much. Now, my unpopular opinions on the movies is that the first two movies are my favorite. I thought that they were by far done the best. The ones that are my least favorite are 4 and 5, because they cut out so much. It's terrible. I actually do not have that big of a problem with number 6 though, because I feel like they cover most of the main points. They just make it faster paced and cut out Harry obsessing over Draco for 90% of the book. I do not think that Hermione should be in Ravenclaw, because she is not creative or open-minded, which are two of Ravenclaw's traits. We can't just summarize these houses by one of the things. Oh, Hufflepuffs are loyal. Oh, Gryffindors are brave. Oh, Ravenclaws are smart. Slytherins are ambitious. No, they have at least 4 traits that define them each. Ravenclaws are intelligent, open-minded, creative, not just smart. The next are the bullies. The twins aren't nice. I'm gonna repeat that. The twins are not good people. Fred and George Weasley are not good people. They are not trying to hurt anyone with their pranks, but the people that they pick on are the vulnerable people. They prank Neville a lot, who's the person who gets bullied a lot. They pick on some of the Slytherins, we know less about them. Of course, we know that they are the hated house, so they get picked on by the rest of the houses, but they pick on people in return. But we see a lot of pranks on Neville, who was a bullied child. That's not good. Same with James and Sirius. They used to be evil. Now, I have some more things to say on that. Sirius is a very good character. He's incredibly complex. He was less complex when he was a child, of course. Children are less complex. And he was a bully. So was James. The tragedy of James's death is not the fact that he became a good person and died. It is not that he was a good person that was died. It was that he was a bully, and then he was in war, and he was becoming a better person. He had not become a better person, but he was becoming a better person. But you cannot truly say that you are a good person when you are fighting a war, because when the war ends, you're going to need to completely redefine yourself. So he was becoming a better person, and his life was cut short before he could reach that point. The tragedy of James's death is that he died before he could become a good person. Sirius is a very complex character. He's very interesting, but they were horrible bullies. But we need to justify this a little bit. They were far worse than Fred and George Weasley were. Why? Because they lived in a time period of war. There was a full-out war for their entirety at Hogwarts. And Hogwarts was a recruiting ground. People were trying, it was a war in the school, and it was a war outside of the school. So they were far worse than Fred and George Weasley were, and they were horrible people. But the situation that they were in was far worse than what we see in Harry Potter's point of view from his years at school. So I give them a little bit of slack for being terrible people. The Malfoys are evil. They are Death Eaters, both of them. Narcissa is a terrible person. She's a Death Eater. Lucius is a worse person. He is a Death Eater. They are willing to torture and kill without remorse. Narcissa is slightly better because she does have a love for her son, which Lucius Malfoy did not have. He may have gained one in Azkaban. I will be making a video about Draco Malfoy that will cover this in more depth. Draco is not a terrible person. He will have a video made about him. Click subscribe if you want to see it. Now, I think that there should be an epilogue in Harry Potter, but I do not like the one that there is. The epilogue that there is, I feel like it shows us a little bit too much. It shows us more pairings than we'd like to see. Some people are very happy with them, but a lot of people aren't. I feel like a really good epilogue would just be Harry sitting on his son's bed, putting him to bed before the night before his son goes off to Hogwarts and comforting his fears right there. Just him and his son, and we don't need to know who the mother of his son is. We don't need to know anything about anything except for just a scene between him and his son. The problem with that, and why J.K. Rowling did not do that, is because King's Cross Station is an incredibly important theme. The idea of traveling is an incredibly important theme in her books, and she wanted to include that, which makes sense. But I feel like she has a lot of unhappy fans because of that. And that a more vague epilogue would have prevented that. I hate Dumbledore a lot. But I would not have a problem with Dumbledore if it wasn't for the 7th book. The 7th book destroys Dumbledore's character because she was doing the omnipotent old man that saw everything and knew everything and guided all of that. It was a good character. She did a unique twist on it with making him a little bit funny. It fit really well into her ward. In the 7th book, she decided to show his backstory and make him seem a little bit darker, more gray, more relatable. It was a really brave move on her part because it wasn't something that's usually done. But it failed. It failed really badly because it's not done for a reason. The moment that you do that, you bring into question all of their actions. You make them seem, you wonder what their ulterior motives were. He's now this really ambitious person who's known to dabble in the dark arts before, and now he is all of this stuff, and you're going, wait, why was he doing all of this? And it brings him into so much more question than he had been in. And if she had just left him as this omnipotent character, then it would have just shown, it would have stayed with the trope, and he would have been safe, and people wouldn't hate him as much as they currently do. I do not hate Umbridge. I dislike her. She's a villain. She's evil. But I don't hate her. She's a minor villain, one book villain that I don't care about at all. I do not think that Harry should have died. Now, I know that this is actually not an unpopular opinion, but I've seen it so frequently on the unpopular opinions that he should have died that I'm saying that he shouldn't have died, and I'm counting as unpopular because a lot of people think that he should have died. And I do not think that he should have died. I think that he was destined from the very first book to have a showdown with Voldemort, which is exactly what we got. I didn't think it was leading up to his death. I thought it was leading up to a showdown. Check out my video about Voldemort. I go into it in more detail. And Arthur Weasley should have died. Not because then we would have gone to keep Sirius and other characters. No, Arthur Weasley should have died because if Arthur Weasley had died, then Harry wouldn't have been the only person mourning his death. We would have gotten to see Ginny and Ron mourning his death. Perhaps we could have gotten some bonding between Harry and Ginny that would have actually made sense for them to have been in a relationship later. We would have seen Ron really upset, bring some more depth to his character. Harry would have, of course, been upset because Arthur was a father figure to him as well. There would have been some bonding over grief, and Harry would not have been the only person to be upset, and it would have been a far improvement. So those are my unpopular opinions. I love the Harry Potter books. It's an amazing series. And I have my little pin here that shows my love for the Harry Potter book. So, hope you enjoyed. Do comment below. I know that you disagree with my opinions. Feel free to tell me. I will respond to you. Perhaps we can get some conversation started. conceal it.